Matthew, it's Mrs. Herbst. I'm going to go over some of the questions you've missed now, since I think that this is probably your third attempt. Watch the video, take some notes if you want over it, and then let me know once you've watched it, and at that point I will reset the test. So what I've done here is copied the problems that you missed into a Word document so that I can write next to your work, or next to the problem. The first one you missed, I didn't copy the numbers on all of them. It says the Mogul Runners Ski Club planned a trip to Park City. Of the total number of club members, 13 signed up to go. If this is 26% of the club, how many members does the ski club have? So basically you're trying to find what number 13 is 26% of. I don't know that they teach the percent equation or the percent proportion, but you can really set it up either way. I think earlier I saw some equations. So I always learn this equation with percents. Blank percent of blank is blank. Of means multiplication, is means equals. So you're multiplying the percent times the whole, and it needs to equal the part. Sometimes maybe you've maybe heard this. I don't know if this is what GradPoint is using. So the whole times the percent is going to equal the part. So 26%, 0.26, and I'm going to multiply that times X, because I don't know how many members the ski club has in total. What I know is that 13 of them, the part, 13 of them signed up to go. So we're going to divide both sides by 0.26. And you're definitely going to want a calculator handy for this lesson. And you get 50 members. So you're taking the part and you're dividing it by the percent to get the whole. The next one says write the equation and solve. So again, blank, I say it just like this in class, blank percent of blank is blank. And we say it like that because of means multiplication and is means the equal sign. So 58 is 100% of what number? So the of what number, that's your whole, that's what we don't know. So we're going to put an X there. Obviously 100 goes here, and then this is our part, so 58 goes there. So what this looks like to me, if I move my decimal 2 times, is 1 times X equals 58, and when I divide both sides by 1, I get that X equals 58. Now it looks like this matches both the second and the fourth option, but then you'll see that this answer was not correct. So that's why it's option D instead of option B. Ordering numbers from least to greatest. When I copy these problems over, the fractions always do something really funny. So anytime you want to order numbers, you always have to put them in the same form. So 3/4 is 0.75. If you don't know that, then you would divide 3 divided by 4 in your calculator. 0.72, 69% is 0.69, and then 0.63. So least to greatest, so we're going to start with the smallest. That's 0.63 because it looks like you put 3/4 first, but 3/4 is actually the biggest number here, 0.75. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then 4. These were actually in order from greatest to least, the way they were presented in the problem. 9 is what percent of 30? So here we go again. Blank percent of blank is blank. So we're going to take the percentage. Oh, that's the one we don't know. So X percent times the of 30. There's 30. 9 is, so that's the is word, that's the part 9. So X times 30 equals 9. And here you see they have it flipped around. It looks like they're doing blank is blank percent of blank. So they just have it flip-flopped. So you could rewrite this as 9 is X times 30. You solve by dividing both sides by 30. So x is going to equal 0.3. And then when you're working with this percent equation, you have to remember that this is a decimal, so you have to move the decimal 2 spots to the right to get 30%. Ordering from least to greatest, again, 1% is 0.01, 11% is 0.11, then we have 0.09, and if you're not sure what 1/8 is, just do 1 divided by 8 in a calculator and you get 0.125. So the smallest number is 1%, 0.01, so this would be first, this is second, then 11%, and then 1/8, so third and then fourth. This time it said least to greatest. You just have to make sure they're not going to switch it up on you and say greatest to least. And so again, in your choice, it looks like you put 0.09 first, but 0.01, which is what 1% is actually smaller. Or, yeah, smaller. Percent decrease. So when you're trying to find percent increase or decrease, you just subtract the two numbers and then you divide by the original. So it's 340 minus 260, and it's always divided by the original, whatever number was first. And in this case, we're starting at 340 and we're going to 160, so we're going to divide by 340. So 340 minus 260 in a calculator, that's 80. 80 divided by 340 is 0.23529. I'm just reading that off the calculator. You move your decimal 2 times. 23.5%. It said round to the nearest tenth. So there's that option. I think what you might have done, I'm going to double check. Yeah, it looks like you divided by 260. So it's subtract the two numbers and divide. This number here is always the first number listed. Whether it's increase or decrease, you always divide by that first number. Another percent decrease, so it should be 300 minus 250 over 300. So that's 50 over 300. And it looks like you just put it over 250 again. To get that 20%. So 50 divided by 300, whoops, is 0.16 repeating, so I'll just put a whole bunch of sixes. So when I move my decimal spot, 16.7%. So again, it's always the first number that goes underneath that you divide by. Sporting goods store pays $180 for a rubber raft. The percent of markup is 30%. Find the raft's selling price. So percent markup means the sporting goods store, obviously in order to make any kind of money, needs to increase the amount. They need to sell the item for more than they buy it for. So we're just going to take 180. And I think on this one you might, what did I do? I think on this one you might have just forgotten to add back. So you do 180 times 0.30, and you're going to get, I think, $54. Okay, so then the question here again was not how much more do they sell it for. The question was how much do they sell it for altogether. Well, they have to sell it for the 180 plus the $54. And that's where the 234 comes from. Okay, that looks like that's the last problem. Did I skip something? No, so it looks like it was percent decrease, just forgetting to divide by the original number. And then some of those order the numbers, make sure they're all in the same form. All decimals is usually the easiest way to do it. And then a couple of just percent questions. So once you've watched this, let me know and I will reset the test. Thanks.